All right, everyone, we have to talk first today about Jussie Smolett, the now infamous fucking race-baiting hoax. It's really funny because Kamala Harris, like, her tweet on the issue from late January, which is like, oh, it's modern-day lynching, it, like, circulates so widely and people have a great chuckle at it. It was funny to see all of the people in the MSM backtrack over the last couple of days in the wake of revelations that it was a totally fake staged event. And they're like, oh, yeah, I questioned it to begin with. Like, they did this on CNN yesterday and on the Young Turks that did for that. Well, there were always holes in the story. That's funny because you talked about all of the everything associated with Smollett before, and you said, well, it's definitely, this is racist and homophobic, and the people who did this is Trump's America. Well, it turns out that wasn't actually the case. He paid a couple of Nigerian immigrants actually to, I guess, pretend to assault him, or maybe did he pay them to punch him, or did they just, like, show up and then... He didn't really plan it out fully. It's funny. But now it looks like there will be no justice whatsoever in the case because it looks like he may not face any jail time. Now, when I saw the initial charge, like, well, he might face 3 years in prison, I'm like, well, nobody, demonstrably got hurt by this, even if they could have, which is why you need a penalty of some sort. Basically, what I would have put in place is I would have made him pay restitution, that every penny that was used in all of the police overtime looking through fucking video footage and analyzing letters, and didn't he mail himself a powder in that letter? Tampering with the U.S. mail is a real fucking grave offense, dude. He should have to spend at least... I would have given him like 3 months in a low-security facility. Sort of a symbolic slap on the wrist, but I mean, to give him no jail time at all, just he has to write a letter of apology. They said, well, justice will be served if he apologizes and pays a fine. What are you fucking talking about? He had the entire country cataclysmically affixed to this story for days and days, rambling about race this, hatred, and this is modern politics and all this crazy shit, stoking the flames of racial hatred in the process of doing so. I can't even, words can't even express how fucking dumb he is, number one, and the damage potentially done to race relations by such cases. Can you imagine, what if he had been white? And he was like, oh, well, a couple of Black Panthers attacked me, boo-hoo, and stuff like that, and it turned out it was actually like a couple of other white dudes. And I guess the reason is he was upset by his salary. He figured, well, I'll get sympathy and more fame, and they'll have to pay me more, I guess. I guess the idea was that they'd give him more money. He's making $60,000 an episode of his shitty show. $60,000 an episode, and you're worried about your fucking salary? Yes, you're not a rich, out-of-touch liberal elitist. No, you're very, very grounded in reality, very sensible and saying good head on your shoulders. Oh my god, you gotta be nuts, dude. And apparently that's a tripling. Apparently, like, he was making $20,000 an episode. A measly $20,000 a fucking episode. My god, who can live on that? How many episodes per season? And over the course of the years, is it like 20 episodes? Is it 10 or something? Yeah, you can't make do on like 600 grand, dude. That's like small time and shit. No, he wants to live the penthouse luxury lifestyle. And you watch. Whether he faces any jail time or not, he pays his fine and stuff. I'm sure he can pay it because he's loaded. He'll sell the rights to a book about the event or something, or do a bunch of paid interviews about it, a tell-all memoir or whatever. Probably pretend to be apologetic. He'll go on basically tour and make even more money. Apparently they've written him off his show, but he was back at work anyway because they haven't killed off his character, I guess, yet. So that means he's still making 60 grand an episode as of right now. Probably they'll wait. They'll say, well, we want to write him out. And then a couple months later, they'll decide not to, and they'll quietly reinsert him. And then they'll just give him a pay cut, maybe. That'd be the real punishment. But, I mean, the thing is, looking at this, the mainstream media covering its ass, the Chicago police appear to be irate about this situation. It looks like, here's what you get in big cities. The beat cops and stuff are trying to do their job, preferably most of the force is made up of good guys. You're always going to have a few corrupt cops that are stealing drugs from lockup or, raping prostitutes or whatever, or worse in some cases. But most of them are trying to do their job, and they're like, oh, so the dude, he wastes our time for a fucking solid week. We could have been, chasing after all the murderers that are in Chicago. We could have been going after gang members that are selling crack to school kids, but we couldn't do that. We had to look, this stupid actor who doesn't even know how to hoax a hate crime properly. We had to go through hours and hours of video footage to confirm the fact that he was full of shit and mailed a letter to himself and then had himself physically assaulted. like I said before, why don't we, to dissuade people from doing this, we should stop incentivizing it, number one, and we should and we should make a point of actually giving out some degree of reasonable punishment when it happens. When someone hoaxes a hate crime or whatever, it's like, you know, there have been all these cases, especially in colleges, where you've got some black student, you've got like people scrawl the N-word across her door, and she tearfully talks to the media and gets on CNN and gets paid interviews and stuff like that, and then you find out, oh, video footage confirms, months later sometimes, that it was actually the student themselves that did it, or one of their friends who was in on the hoax the whole time. It seems like hate crime hoaxes are actually more common than actual hate crimes in the United States. And by the way, some of these things, it's like, didn't some student get in trouble fairly recently, and all he did was post a Pepe image in a college? I think, yeah, there was which university or school was it? They found an image of Pepe the Frog. No context, no words on it, it's just literally raw Pepe. And they locked the school down. They considered it like to be a terroristic, hateful threat. I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't make any sense at all. There's no context to the post that was made on this fucking bulletin board. We have this time and time again. People, you know, flip out over the least thing. Yeah, I have Pepe the Frog images. That doesn't make me Goebbels. And I got my own personal Pepe that circulates around once in a while. That doesn't mean that I'm Adolf Hitler. Apparently these people think that, though. I mean, it's a really weird world that we live in. We got topsy-turvy policing here. Like, if they get attacked by someone yelling MAGA country and homophobic shit, I mean, that person goes away for 10 years, but Smollett wastes police resources as though that has happened, and they're like, oh, we'll pay a little fine. Yeah, no biggie. So, yeah, you mailed a mysterious powder to yourself along with a cartoon that looked like it was drawn by a developmentally arrested 3-year-old, by the way, of somebody with a gun and a noose, I guess, or something it was in crayon and shit. And it's like, just totally, why doesn't he sell the crayon that he used to make that drawing? If he could probably get like 10 grand on eBay as a, you know, crime-abilia or something like that. You know, you've got this situation where there's going to be no justice. He's going to get virtually no punishment. He'll make his tearful apology, and he'll be back out there doing stupid shit all over again. And he's a smug little punk, too. I mean, the way that he acts, you can tell he's like, he thinks his shit don't stink, I think. That's about all. Peace out.